Hi, and welcome to Three Questions with. Got my buddy Paul Falewicz with us. Going to talk a little bit about my favorite subject, budgeting today. Hey, Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for having me again.
So, Paul, I was chuckling this morning when we discussed the topic because I remember my corporate days. Doing the budget was a big deal. We spent a month or so on it, going over every line, every detail. Then I go start my own business. Haven't done a budget in 13 years. The problem with that, Paul, is when I have that unexpected expense, I'm like, geez, where's that money coming from? Not doing a budget's a mistake, right?
Yeah, I mean, a budget is a very important thing for a business. You need to make sure you understand where your money's being spent. I did the same thing in the corporate world. You spent a lot of time putting that budget together, and it was kind of the Bible of the business for that year. You start your own little business, and you're just not paying attention to it, and before you know it, you're out of money, and your business fails. We don't want to see any of that type of stuff happen. We want to make sure that these businesses stay in business and generate the money they can. So I always think of a budget as kind of guardrails, not a hard and fast rule that you have to spend every single dollar that you put in that budget or that same way, because things change during the course of the year. But it is kind of a guardrail to say, hey, I can only spend so much in particular areas and really in total so that the business doesn't fail.
I really like that, Paul, because I found that when I do take a moment to look at it, you have all those things you signed up for. Well, Paul, it was only $19.99 a month. So yeah, I signed up for it. Kev, do you use it? Haven't used it once, Paul. All those $19.99s and other dollar amounts add up at the end of the month, the end of the year. So budgeting is a good way to look at every dollar you're spending and ask yourself why.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be able to just ask yourself why. I mean, we all have something in our personal life, something in the business that it's a recurring charge on our credit card every month, and we've never used it. I tell people it's as simple as, use it or get rid of it. You make the choice of how you want to spend your money. That's not my job. That's not anyone's job other than your own, but you want to make sure you use it. It's called return on investment. You want to make sure that if you spend $20 on a gym membership, you show up every once in a while. You don't have to go religiously every 5 hours or every day, but if you show up a couple times a week, you're getting your money's worth at that point. It's the same thing within business. If you have a magazine subscription or a cloud service or QuickBooks or anything that you're paying for on a recurring basis, you want to make sure you use it. You're getting your money's worth. And if you're not getting your money's worth, you call the 800 number and you cancel it, and then that's 25 more bucks in your pocket, and no one's really going to complain at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if nothing else from the budgeting, it helps with that. But also just for the, budgeting for expenses, we often need new equipment. I know I've had that happen to me this year with my laptops. I needed to replace both of my laptops. And then I realized I needed to have nicer laptops than I have now, Paul. That's why I needed to replace them. And all of a sudden you're like, my God, it's not $300, it's $900 each. Again, if I would have sat down at the beginning of the year and said, okay, what additional things will I need this year? I could have factored that in and it wouldn't have hurt as much.
Again, within the pandemic, the past couple of years, we've learned that things can change on a dime. So you put a budget together, everything goes out the window, but what you have is some guidelines that you're following. If you're having a better year, you can buy the more expensive laptop. You can upgrade some of that equipment. If you're struggling, you're going to have to make do with what you have at that point and find some ways to spend the money a little smarter. So the budget, again, in my eyes, is really a guardrail. It's guidelines. It's keeping you within what you think is going to happen. We can't predict the future. If we could, life would be a lot easier, but what we're trying to do is figure out what's going to happen and then play within those parameters and then make the adjustments as we go along. If you go under budget, everything is great. You can have more money. If you go over budget, unfortunately, you're not going to have any money to do what you want to do, and you're going to be unhappy by the end of the year.
So, Paul, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? How can they learn more?
Easiest way to get in touch with me is via email, paul.falewicz@succentrix.com, or you can check out my website, succentrix.com/Paul Falewicz.
Well, I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes out of your day to join us on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Appreciate it.